us for the Come Up with Dani P, episode 5. Got a very special guest here with me today, Tonio.
Wait, I thought this was the first episode ever.
No, the first one in LA.
Okay, I can deal with that.
Yeah, it's still a first.
That works.
You guys may know him as Tonio Skits on social media. Introduce yourself, Tonio.
What up, everybody? It's Tonio Skits. My real name is Antonio Ramos, but I go by Tonio.
And roll the
Skits.
R's. Make sure.
You gotta roll it. You gotta roll the R. Latinos. I am a content creator. I stress that because sometimes people like to call me an influencer, which I am, but an influencer for what I do limits what I actually do. An influencer is someone that can influence a brand or a topic or something because they have a large following. A content creator is an influencer, but it's a person that writes, directs, and edits and produces their own content.
Right.
So I am a content creator.
It's the talent that gets you to be an influencer. It's kind of like...
Yeah. Because, to be an influencer, you have a large following. To be a content creator, you have to be an influencer that creates content.
Right.
Writes and edits and shoots their own stuff. And that's what I do.
And you've got what, like at least 2 million, and that's just on Instagram alone.
Yeah, Instagram, and I have 2.3 million on Facebook. And then maybe 100,000 on YouTube, 10,000
You popping.
on Twitter. I'm working.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in New York, in the Bronx. I was born and raised over there. And then after my mom passed, I moved to Miami. My mom had a sister. So I moved to Miami right after high school, and been living there ever since. Okay,
and how would you describe your childhood?
I had a rough childhood. I come from foster home. My mom passed when I was 15, so I come from that rough upbringing. And then I moved to Miami. I was homeless at one point. Things weren't working out.
What? Yeah. You gotta tell us about that.
Yeah, moved to Miami, and things weren't working out as I thought it would, and it was just, I was living at friends' house and other friends' houses, and until I found a job doing mortgages, and then that's when I started making money. And
what made you get into that?
A friend of mine, brother, owned a mortgage company.
Okay.
And I just went over there, and I worked there for 4 months without getting paid.
What age was that?
I'm 19, 18. Okay. And once I figured it out, it took me 4 months to close my first deal. By my first year, I made like $44,000. My second year, I made $160,000. By my third year, I owned my own mortgage company. By the time I was like 22, I had owned like 6 houses. This was when the housing market was like crazy.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, is that regular, or were you doing something different?
No, it was just doing the housing market, the boom. And I was at the right place at the right time, and I was able to capitalize on that. And then the mortgage industry went into shit. We fell into a depression, and then after that, I had a motorcycle accident. It was a very bad motorcycle accident. It left me. Well, this is what happened. The motorcycle accident, they airlifted me, took me to Jackson Memorial, where I needed spinal surgery. I currently have 10 screws in my spine, and my spinal. I have 10 screws fused in my thoracic spine. During the operation, one of my lungs collapsed and I flatlined. I died. I was gone for 22 seconds.
And how old were you here? Still like 19? Or?
No, I'm 25. And
what happened? How did you get into an accident?
I was coming home from the gym, and a van cut me off, and I flew off my bike and went straight into the windshield. So while operating on me, lungs collapsed, I flatlined. They brought me back, and I was diagnosed as a paraplegic. I was paralyzed. I was on life support, and I was in a coma for 4 days. I snapped out of it, and I walked out the hospital 28 days later with no rehab needed. Crazy. So because of that, I went back to school. I was going to school. I had taken out a business degree from FIU. So when I fell into the hospital, it just brought me into a new world, and I went back to school and became a nurse. So people don't know I was actually a nurse. So I went to school to be a nurse, and that's where I met my ex-girlfriend. I was with my ex-girlfriend for 4.5 years. She cheated on me.
I saw this. I watched an interview of yours that you did.
She cheated on
and
me.
You said that was the inspiration for you to start skits, no?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The way it happened was, it wasn't something so crazy like, oh, I'm inspired. I was just hurt. I moved back into my aunt's house, and then in her garage, since I was living back in her garage, they didn't have no cable in the garage yet. So I just had internet. So I would go on social media, and this was when Instagram was a thing already, but I was like, I thought it was for kids. And I went on it one day. I already had a following. I had like 600 followers, but I would barely be on it. But I went on it and saw a video, and I just had an idea. I was bored. I was home, so I remade a video. It was a video by Jessica Vanessa at the time. She was a big Viner, and I did a video. Then I got really creative and made a video about my ex-girlfriend. She didn't like it, so I made 9 more. She didn't like it.
That's like the definition of haters are motivators.
Yeah. So in the process of doing that, I found a way to express myself, and doing these videos became therapeutic for me to just putting a storyline together and making people laugh.
And it's like turning a negative into a positive almost.
Yeah, I took a very dark part of my life and turned it into something positive. And I got over her through making these videos. I just never stopped and kept doing these videos while finishing nursing school. Finally finished. I was working as a nurse in a hospital, and it just got to one day where I would always come home and do my videos. I would go to work, think about ideas from other videos, and I would always see all these Viners and all these people working together, and I didn't have nobody like that. So I would try to gather people up in Miami, and it would work, but it would take a while for me to get it done because nobody knew about this. I was just like, yo, let's shoot a video. So I found a formula that worked for me. I would find like girls that had a large following to do a video with them, because if I can get my videos on their page and they already have an established page, I can take their followers.
So at this point, did you have a following when you were?
No.
But you were still consistently creating content?
Yes. I was still doing content.
What kind of reactions were you getting?
People were loving it, people.
But you hadn't gone like viral or anything yet?
Well, one of my videos, the one about my ex, did go viral. At the time, I had like 10,000 likes on it, which was, I would only get like 100 likes a picture, and then I had a video that had 10,000 likes. I'm like, what is going on? So I just continued doing that, and I continued reaching out to girls. I would reach out to 10, maybe 5 will respond. 3 of them were interested, and maybe 1 of them I actually end up shooting the video. So I'll just do it again, find another group of 10 girls. And as I continued doing that and being persistent, I would have more videos on my page, and other girls would see that. And these models, they sometimes want to do more than just, model. And I presented that opportunity for them. So it started becoming easier to find people. But yet I would still look at the people in Los Angeles, how they work together, and I would look at the way they shoot it. I felt like the sunlight was different, what they were doing different.
First of all, the sunlight is different here.
Yeah.
I'm like, these girls aren't just, they're cute and all, but nah, it's this light that you guys have here. It is everything.
The lighting over here is lit. So I decided to come visit. When I got off the plane, 3 hours after I got off the plane, I was already at the All Deaf Digital office, Russell Simmons' office, shooting a skit, because that's what they were doing. Russell Simmons had a social media side where people were just doing skits. Creators were working with each other. So I went there, I met people there, got their phone numbers, found out they were shooting the next day. So my second day, I'm shooting with other people, and slowly, and I was in LA for about a good week. I did so much work. What normally would take me months to do in Miami, I did it in 3-4 days here. Dang. And that's where I'm like, I need to come here.
You gotta move.
I gotta move over here.
You have to talk me into it.
And I talked to my family, and more importantly, it was with my daughter. I had told her what I wanted to do, and she wasn't with it. She actually told me. Like,
so you have kids?
Yeah.
How many?
2 kids.
A daughter and a son?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my daughter at the time was like, nah. So then I changed my mind. I'm like, I'll figure it out from Miami. Oh. And maybe like a month later, I don't know why, she just changed her mind, and she goes, Papi, I think you should do it. I think I did a video with some influencer that she was very big. I didn't know her because she was appealing more to the younger crowd. My daughter knew her. She saw that. She goes, oh my God, did you just shoot with such and such? I'm like, yeah. So she's like, she changed her mind. 2 weeks later, I was gone. I took my last check from the hospital and moved over here with 2 roommates. We got a house together, and then I just came out here and just started like.
Okay, so
grinding.
With that, you said you took your last check from the hospital.
Yeah.
You came out here with no job.
Nothing.
Nothing secured.
Nothing.
And what was your plan?
My plan was to shoot videos, collaborate with as many people as I possibly can, and try to monetize what I was doing. Because I would see all these influencers and these Viners making videos, and how are they supporting themselves? Like, what were they doing? And I understood, like, getting your followers up will potentially allow you to be able to monetize your page. It's like watching a TV show. You watch a show and they need advertisers to promote commercials, so they get paid. So social media has become no different. Once you have X amount of views, it's like having a channel. Right. And advertisers will see that, and they come look for you and want to advertise with your page. So
how did that go? When you moved out here, did that go according to plan? Did you have to get another job?
No, it was difficult the first 3 months.
Did you have money saved?
Nah, I just had my last check. The thing is, since I already had a little following, there was little tricks I learned. Like Uber was doing like a program where if you refer a friend and they use your code, you get a free ride. So I had a little following. I would always post my code, and people would use my Uber code, and I'll get free rides. At one point, I had over 130 free rides. So I was able to get around LA for free. Nice. For a couple months. And sometimes, the people call me, people DM me like, hey, can you post my music? So I would charge them to post their music, or even create custom videos for their music. That's how I was paying rent. And then
that's crazy.
I booked I booked myself as a cast member on an improv comedy show on MTV called Wild and Out, and that was my big break because now I was able to generate.
How did that happen?
Real money. So what happened was I had like 50,000 followers when I was still in Miami, and I heard there was a casting, so I flew myself to New York for season 7 to cast for it, and I made it to the finals, and they didn't pick me, and it was crazy for me. I'm like, I thought I was perfect, and they didn't pick me. And that was my first time trying out for a show for television. So it kind of messes with your head when you don't get picked, because you're doing all this work on social media and everybody thinks you're funny, but when you try out for the real world, it's not social media, and you don't make it. It really messes with you. Like, damn, maybe you're just a joke, or people don't take you serious. And it was a long plane ride back for me from New York to Miami. But I remember the last thing that I was on the plane, I was like, wait a minute. I've been doing this social media stuff for like, I think by that time it was like 9 months. I was just in front of Nick Cannon. I shook Nick Cannon's hand, and I got here because of what I was doing. So I'm like, imagine a whole year of doing this again. So that's when I moved to LA, and they reached out to me while now. They're like, hey, why don't you try out for season 8? Oh, and I just felt some type of way. I felt some type of way. I didn't. What I really wanted to say was, nah, I didn't pick me. But I just said, like, look, honestly, I moved to LA. So they go, oh, because we're filming in LA this year. I was like, oh.
Look at God.
And then they're like, well, I expect you at the NBC studios to try out. So I went, and it wasn't even an audition. They put me straight into workshops.
Dang.
So out of 20 people, they're only going to keep 5. And I was one of the 5. And boom, I made it on to season 8, and I've been on the show for 4 seasons now.
Nice. So with that being said, something I did want to ask you about was kind of your advice on dealing with no's. A lot of people can get down, can get discouraged, just like you said you almost did.
Yeah, I almost did. The thing is, failure is a part of your success. There's nobody successful. I don't care who you think about, or it could be somebody small or even as high as Denzel Washington. It doesn't matter what it is. Failure is a part of success. You have to fail. It is the equivalent. I think Will Smith said this. When you go to the gym, you're working out to failure. Growth is found in failure. You are tearing your muscles down. You are working out till you fail in order for you to grow. Wow. It's the same thing in any industry. Doesn't matter what it is. You have to go over there to fail. That is the idea. You're going over there to do stuff you didn't think you can do, to push yourself, because you have to fail. Failure is where you find growth. So it's not about the no's. I feel like everyone has a number. You know, how many tries did it take Denzel Washington to become an actor? Right. How many tries did, it doesn't matter, but everyone has a number, and you don't know what that number is. Right. I remember I saw a meme, and it showed like this miner, like a guy mining, and he's there like digging in the dirt. Success is right and around the corner. Right there, and he was about to quit. And had he not known, you were one more hit away from success. After you've been trying so long, it's easy to be like, you know what? Yeah. I'm not gonna find anything. And that's what people need to hear. Yeah. You know, especially nowadays, you know, with social media, no one really puts their failures, of course. You put when you succeed, you put when you accomplish something, or when you make it to something, but you don't post on there. No one knew you were homeless, I'm sure. Nah. You know, no one knew. You know what also I find odd? Successful people. I've never seen successful people post successful memes. I've never seen that. People who made it post those memes. They're too busy working, making it. Like I always see everyone else going, yeah, if you know, you got to do this or that. Like, everyone has their own road to their success. Absolutely. I find it crazy to take an opinion from anybody that says, hey, don't do this. Mm-hmm. They're basing it off of their experience. Like, they tried it and they're going to advise you, hey, you shouldn't do this. They didn't succeed. Right. And they could only advise you based on their experience. You're not them and they are not you. So I've never taken anyone's opinion on not to do something, ever. Or, oh, no, you can't. Whatever it is that you want to do. Especially like in this space of social media, if you're persistent, consistent, and original, there's no not making it. It's not going to happen. Look at Cardi B. Cardi B was a stripper with an amazing personality. And an authentic personality. How many times she would go on social media, talk shit, and so many people would talk shit to her, make fun of her teeth, and just go in on her. And she never stopped picking up that phone and telling you how she felt. Her authenticity, people fell in love with her before they fell in love with her music. Mm-hmm. And she found her way out, but she never stopped. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're a stripper, whether you are a comedian or a business owner, you know, you put in the work, it's gonna happen. So you're very creative. I mean, I just got to watch you, you know, hands-on. It's almost like a whole production. Like, these skits are no joke. You're very creative. You started, you know, you said at a mortgage company, nursing. This whole time, did you have that idea of like what you really wanted to do? Since a kid, I always wanted to act. Okay. I always knew that, but from my upbringing and where I came from, it got to a point where I thought that was just a fantasy, because It's not for people like me. I grew up having nothing. I come from nothing. So that was just a fantasy. I felt that was only privileged to certain people. I'm not supposed to have that. It wasn't until I was able to pick up my phone one day. I had an iPhone 5C and recorded something where I felt that power of I can do whatever the hell I want to do. So when I started creating stuff, it was just fun at first, which is still is fun.
Yeah.
But for me, that back then it was I never thought I'll be in LA or I'll be in Hawaii directing Kevin Hart on a sketch that I wrote. Like, who the hell thinks that? It gradually got to there, but when I started, it was just about making content and just doing things I thought was funny. And I remember I got this one DM the first time I realized I can make money from this. Some guy was like, yo, would you post my music? Da? So I charged him, and I was able to pay my phone bill with that. So a light bulb came out. I'm like, wait, ding.
Right.
Let me do this again. Let me find some more people
Right.
that want me to. And it just turned into a business. And I was able to monetize myself. And now I'm in LA, filming with the best and doing all this.
What, if you could go back and tell however old you were, Tonio, when you said like that wasn't, you didn't see that in your reach, like you didn't even see that possible, what would you say to yourself?
Well, the thing is, what I've learned was, even going to school, I started school late, and I loved school. I did really good. If someone would have told me, like, hey, why don't you go to school? It's just a simple, hey, why don't you go to school? I probably would have gone, but I didn't have nobody in my family that went to school. I was the first one to graduate from my generation of my family. No one ever told me anything. So I think if I was able to go back to my younger self and be like, hey, if acting is what you want to do, you can actually do it. There's a way. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was for me. I had no idea. I just stumbled onto it from a heartbreak. And sometimes when
God's
plan, when you deal with something traumatic like that, either makes or break you. And fortunately, it made me, and I was able to, put myself in this position where I am today, because I took something so negative and just turned it into something positive.
That's awesome. And so you dealt with that. You dealt with like that accident. How do you pick yourself up from these lows?
Oh man, well, when you come from the bottom, picking up and starting over, it's almost a natural thing. I've been up, down, up, down, up, down, so it was just a natural thing. When I realized I had something going on with this, I just stayed consistent and believed in it. Because back then, it wasn't a thing yet. People didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just believed in it. And even when I told my family I'm going to go to LA to do this, they were like,
what?
Like, yo, you're making good money as a nurse. Like, what, are you crazy? And hey, I'm going to move to LA.
Quit my nursing job and I'm going to go film videos.
And make funny videos on social media.
What?
Like, what? Drug testers do right now. And it worked.
Do you have like a favorite failure? Like just a failure that, it was a failure, but you learned a lot from it?
It has to be not making it on Long Island. That woke me up, because it allowed me to see how strong a no will discourage you. It was so strong. And that plane ride back, I changed my focus. I changed the way I thought. Changing the way you think is one of the most biggest power a person can have. If you can change the way you think, everything else just falls into place.
So what clicked?
It was just...
Like, I can do this, I don't need this kind of approval, or?
It was... Yeah, well, it was like, okay, cool. They don't see it. That's fine. I know I see it. I was just in front of Nick Cannon. Like, he was shaking my hand.
It's still something.
He would have never known me if I did not do these social media videos. So I'm like, well, if I was in front of Nick Cannon, and this is only, I've been at this for 8 or 9 months, I could only imagine another year where I would be. And sure enough, another year, I'm in Hawaii directing Kevin Hart for a sketch I created and acting alongside him, which is the craziest
How did that come
thing
about?
ever. They had put a post out one day looking for creators. They wanted to find the best of the best, and I was a part of that list. And
Did you reach out to them, or they reached out to you?
They reached out to me. It just so and they were looking for people in LA, and I just happened to move to LA. Had I not moved to LA,
you wouldn't have even fallen into that category.
That local people that they were looking for, and I know coming to LA, I was going to put myself in the right place at the right time, and I was prepared, and I've been filming, and you'd be surprised, people watch your stuff that you may not even know on social media. I had no idea you see my stuff. He knew my name. He was like, what do you call me? He was like, Tone, what up, Tone? I'm like, yo, Kevin Hart has a nickname for you? Tone? I bet. I'm with it.
Tone. No more Tonio. Call me Tone.
Yeah, that's it.
So how do you stay consistent? How do you find content?
Well, to stay consistent, you have to be in tune with what's going on. I watch a lot of videos. I see what's going on. I make videos about things I've experienced, things I find funny, what's going on now, anything trending, maybe a new song inspired me. You can get inspiration from anything. I got inspiration from my ex. Thank you. I got inspiration from music. Yeah, no shade. I got inspiration from music I listen to, and just personal experiences.
Okay, what does that creative process look like? It's just kind of like you get an idea, and all of a sudden you write it down, or you're like, I'll go film it right away?
If it's a big idea, I'll tend to write. I'll write like a script out. If I'm working with other people, having a script makes it easier, makes the flow. But with social media, most of it is like today. I knew I had an idea, but I had to sit down and just flush it out. So I tend to just, whoever I'm gonna cast for the video, I have them come over, and then we just talk about the idea and figure it out. So most of the time, we don't have to write anything down. You can write it, because I have notes. Like throughout the day, if I see something I think it's funny, I'll write a note about it. So later on, when I look at my notes, I'm like, oh, I remember that. I can go back and match it up and look. I have like 5 different notes about 5 different things, and then I'll create 2 or 3 videos off of that. So I'm consistently always writing in my notes different ideas. To be a creator, to be consistent, you have to always be thinking and creating.
Yeah.
And I write my notes down so I don't forget what that is, and then just shoot it.
Is it ever like, in order to stay relevant, is it ever forced? Like, do you ever feel like...
It's not forced, but you have to stay relevant.
Because you got to be consistent, I'm assuming, on social media to really keep your presence up and keep building.
Yeah, I feel like you're only as good as your last video, because people just remember, okay, the last video you've done, and especially in social media, everyone has a comment. Everyone has an opinion about something.
How do you deal with that? I'm sure you get all kinds of...
I've heard it
crazy comments.
It depends. Like if someone's like really going out there to just troll or whatever, I just block them. Like, you breathe funny and I'll block you. Like, it's just easy. But it comes with the territory. I never take it personal.
You gotta build tough skin to do something like that.
Tough skin, and I don't care about that. I'm out here just doing what I love to do, and whether you like it or not, or you have an opinion, it does not change. Well, my work ethic. I'm gonna continue creating. I'm gonna continue putting these videos together, and for every 1,000 people that love your stuff, you're gonna have 5 people.
Yeah.
Yo, she's whack. And I don't know about anybody else, but I like to focus on the 1,000 people that like my stuff.
Do you have anything that you do on a daily or any kind of routine that you think has gotten you or helped to get you where you are now?
Yes. I have a routine where I get up every day at 6 in the morning. I get up every day at 6 in the morning. That has helped me, because when I came out here, I was a nobody to these people. You had all these people that knew each other. There's their network, there's cliques. They all come from Vine or whatever. So the difference of what I was doing was whenever somebody was shooting, I'll find out where they were shooting at, I'll show up. And I was always there. So sometimes like, yo, Snap, can you help us out with this or whatever? So now it became a point where whenever people were scheduled to shoot, they remember my name and they know, wait, Tonio always comes through. Let's call Tonio to see if he can shoot this part. And I never failed. I would always show up.
You worked your way up.
Yeah, I was reliable. So whenever they thought about something, they're like, wait, let's hit up Tonio. So it's got to the point where I started becoming a part of every shoot. Then after that, I can call them now and be like, hey, can you come to my video shoot? I'm shooting something in my house. And they're going to come through because out here in LA, everyone helps one another.
That's dope.
To give you a story of how people help, like if a guy is pulled over on the highway and he puts his hood up and he stands there waiting for help, people tend not to stop. If that same guy puts his hood up and starts pushing his car, people tend to pull over and help push. Why?
Because
people like helping people that help themselves. So when I came out here and I'm over here working or whatever, it became easier for people to help me.
It shows.
Yeah. And then with me collaborating with so many different people, a lot of people don't do that. They don't really collaborate with others. I came out here with that mentality because I was doing it in Miami. And I was just collaborating everybody. And I saw myself growing faster by being able to do that. And that's how I got here.
So where do you go from here? I mean, you've built an extremely large platform on social media. You do everything from writing to directing to producing to acting yourself.
Well, the idea is to continue creating, and now I'm pitching in these rooms. I'm in front of Nickelodeon, I'm in front of Comedy Central, and I'm pitching show ideas. I'm still writing, and there's this new network called Zeus. Think of Netflix, but short form content, not feature length films that are 80 minutes or above. It's short form content. So now there's a space in where I can make episodic series and really expand my creativity in writing or in directing and shooting and acting, because now it's in a controlled space. Because social media is the wild west. Everybody's doing videos about everything. And anything. Zeus is a network with more controlled. Okay, cool. I have a series on there. So that's where the next movement is. It's just to make longer form content for a bigger network, and eventually cross over to traditional television or film. And I just shot a month ago my first lead role in a horror film that's called The After Party. So that should be coming out in theaters. I
Nice.
don't know, probably like the end of summer or something.
And you auditioned for that?
No, it was just a straight offer. Like,
nice.
Social media, it becomes a resume too.
Yeah, absolutely.
People know, like, okay, this guy can do this. I think
you have something to offer.
Yeah.
With the digital and the way that it's growing now, people that do what you do, you've all created your own lane almost. Like it's a whole different way of looking at things and creating content and viewing content. What are the advantages you think of doing it digital versus like crossing over to television, like you said?
Digital is much quicker. Television's harder. There's a format, and unfortunately, coming from social media, even if you have a large following, they tend not to respect you because there's so many other people that are doing crazy stuff, running into a store and screaming at the top of their lungs and getting all these followers. So they tend to oh, he's a social media guy. They tend to kind of like discredit your talent almost. So you face that type of adversity, or you face that type of situation. So it becomes harder to cross over. So it's just like anything else. I remember when I started, I was just persistent, never stopped. So now, that's what I'm doing now.
But that's the goal, is television?
Yeah, the goal is to, cross over to traditional television or movie. So that's always been the goal. But like, making these videos are fun.
Yeah.
You know, and I enjoy being creative like that. But that's the next step, and that's what I'm working towards. I'm in acting school. I go every week, you know, to just study the craft and keep it going. Because I take what I do very serious. There's people that have a large following and think they lit. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, you got a large following. You're not better than anybody else. But that's what I'm working towards right now, the crossover.
So what's ideal for you? Like, to be starring in a feature film, to be directing it, producing it?
Yeah, I wanna act. I'll probably direct later when I'm older. I wanna act, and believe it or not, I don't even want to do comedy. I want to do drama. That's what my passion is. Yeah, comedy is just who I am. It's easy.
Yeah.
Drama is what I want to be doing.
It probably challenges you more too, because naturally you're just like funny.
Yeah.
So it's probably like more of a challenge. And
yeah, you can say that. It is more of a challenge. I like the idea of being able to break down a character, understand that character, and deliver it in front of a camera. Being that person, that's what I like to do.
So what's the number one piece of advice you would give to somebody who maybe has been in your shoes, whether it was, you know, from being homeless at one point or from being scared to take that leap of faith and moving to Los Angeles, quitting their nursing job or whatever the case may be?
I just feel like if you believe in something enough, you're gonna do whatever it takes to get there. And it doesn't matter what it is. You're gonna have to overcome your fear. You're gonna have to overcome the people that tell you no. There's a lot of what you have to overcome. But it makes the achievement that much better. And any advice I would give anybody that's trying to do this is just, first you gotta believe in it yourself. Do not do it for the money. There's people trying to do it and trying to get like, that's the wrong focus. Like if you are successful in finding what you do or your niche on social media, the money's gonna come.
Yeah.
You know, when people focus on the money,
because they'll be creating like just good content. You can tell when someone's doing it for the money. It's not, the quality isn't the same.
Yeah, and it's all about content. And if your content is dope, it's gonna be seen. You know, and social media has made a lot of people into stars already, and it will continue. Social media is so brand new. It's only in the business world, especially like the school I went to. Social media only has a paragraph. It's so new, people don't know. So it's like anybody that wants to start now, like,
and it's already grown.
Still good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any fears now?
Do I have any fears? I mean, sometimes, I don't want to call it a fear. It's more of like, you know, when I go pitch shows, I have, well, now it's just to the point where I'm just confident to walk into any of those rooms. And like, this is what I got. You know, and you learn something from that. And that's all it is. It's still the journey. It's
like even with the no's. Even at this point, I'm sure you'll still get no's, and it's still a part of
I still get
the
no's.
journey.
Even in even like in advertisement, when people want to advertise, you know, I know what my worth is. You know, sometimes you gotta say no when you know your worth. But now I deal with failure or someone saying no so much different now. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm getting closer to my yes.
Right.
Every no you hear, that means you're closer to your yes. And it only takes one yes to change everything. It's like, why wouldn't, those odds are crazy. You know, you can get all these no's, but it only takes this one yes. And that's how powerful it is. And that alone motivates me to just continue doing what I'm doing. You know, and I'll be able to cross over.
Nice. All right. So what can we look forward to?
Well,
what's next for Tonio?
I have a show called Rent a Power that you're gonna find on Zeus. It's a new
on that network you were telling us about. Is that online?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm currently on 2 stand-up specials with HBO Latino. that's currently playing right now. HBO One, HBO Go, regular HBO. You can find it on demand. I said that movie, After Party. I have 2 more other movies that are Netflix that are coming out. One is called Bad Agents. And there's another one called, oddly enough, that has this kind of the same name, but the other one's called Bad Escorts. So they can catch me on that too. Those are comedy shows. And follow
And
me.
you're still working.
Still working.
You're still, you see, you get to the top or, whatever, a certain level, and you still got to work just hard. You still audition, all that.
Every day you got to do that. Yeah, as much as I possibly can. If I'm not going to auditions, I'm filming.
Creating yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Well, make sure you guys follow him. Stay tuned and look out.
All right, guys. Tonio Skits, and I'm out. Waiting for Birdo that's sleeping in my bed with his socks off to shut the cameras off.